Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable program. My name is Paul Dingeman. Welcome. We are glad you are along. This program always gives us a chance to sit down with some important people in the community and expand on conversations and take some time and find out just what's happening. That's no different today. We are honored to have the chairman of the board of the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners, Mr. Jeff Bohm, and he brought along a special guest, Jeff Kotowski from the developer of the St. Clair Inn. Welcome to the roundtable set, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. Jeff, lots of marvelous things happening in St. Clair County. Recently, Cranes did a whole series of stories on developments. One of them that we'll get to in a little while was one on the St. Clair Inn. But tell me what's happening in St. Clair County.
Well, if you look at from a regional perspective, we've got a lot of really good things going on. Of course, if you turn the clock back, I've been on the board for 12 years,
Yep.
and you look back in through the 08, 09, 010 times, there wasn't really a lot of good things to talk about. But if you look at the investment, just moving, starting with the Marine City Hotel project that's
Yep.
moving forward. Now we've got Jeff, the new owner of the St. Clair Inn. We've got the demolition on the Detroit Edison plan up
Yes.
there. Convention center's doing well. I just went on an investor's tour in Port Huron the other day to go through the Sperry's building, which will turn a movie theater, the Michigan National Bank building, which is going to be a boutique hotel, and then the old Citadel building. I mean, those projects right there are roughly in the $20 million price tag. And if you look at total investment right now in this area, we're over $230 million in investment. Hence, I think that's where Cranes came in, and they actually just recently did a part story.
Yes.
It was the feature was Port Huron, and for us to get coverage, in St. Clair County from Cranes, that's a monumental task. That's really never happened before. But part of that story was why we're here today is talk about the St. Clair Inn, and I know I got a couple copies to Jeff here. And I know he received, and he said, no wonder why I was getting all these phone calls on this thing. And no, just great opportunity to tell our story on a much larger platform, really.
Well, and it's a compliment to the county board because you guys looked at the whole situation and the problem 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Bill Kaufman, the administrator at the time, did a great job. And you sort of did some long-range planning and looked at issues that needed to be touched.
One of the things that I'd like to give ourselves some credit for, I guess,
you
is
should.
that when we took a look at the St. Clair Inn, I don't think it was any big secret that the direction that it was actually going into, that it was on its way to close. And I think
Right.
one of the things Jeff always mentions is essentially it probably has been closed for 10 years.
Correct.
It was open, but
Correct.
it's well documented that it wasn't running well and things weren't going good. And so it was always for us as who the next buyer that comes along, what can we do from a governmental side of things to help clear the hurdles for the investment community and not be a hindrance to it. And obviously there's process and things you have to go through. We did a lot of environmental work on the front end. We worked on a lot of the historical pieces, brought the people in from the state. Just all the different tools in the toolbox, as I always say, to help when the investor comes along. And then we're fortunate that Mr. Kotowski came along, and we've been doing a lot of meetings. I think this is probably Jeff's 4th, 5th, 6th time in town now. And whenever he's been coming to town, we've been putting a lot of meetings together, some meat and potato meetings. I mean, he's not coming in to say hi, so it's important.
You're getting a lot of work.
We're getting a lot of things accomplished.
One of the things, and we'll get to Jeff in a second, it has impressed me is the fact that you're getting all of the players at the table. You're getting the city, the state, the county, people who can change things and help a developer.
Nothing that probably drives me crazier when you go to a meeting and questions come up, and I know from a developer, we got to get back with you, I don't have those answers, so on and so
Right.
forth. My thing is that we get everybody sitting in those meetings. We had a couple really good, I think the first initial working session was around a 3-hour meeting, and there was everybody from the state, the local, the city, you name it, they were in that room, and the questions and answers could get answered, which helps because move these things forward. I mean, this is a major investment. We're talking about some serious money Mr. Kotowski's looking to invest in our community. We can't put up a bunch of hurdles, for this man. We've got to help him and understand the regional significance of the St. Clair Inn. I mean, you can go to the mall and talk to some of the business owners ever since the St. Clair Inn's closed. That it's definitely
hurt.
it's hurt. Had a big effect on the city. So I know a lot of Jeff. We've got some plans for the St. Clair Inn. We're not ready to go public with them yet, but we've actually been, circulating through some of the right parties that we need to, the committees and so on and so forth. And I can just tell you, tremendous amount of excitement, about the project. And
well, let's meet Mr. Jeff Kotowski. Welcome to St. Clair. I am hearing great things about what you've been doing and what your plans are. Why don't you give us a little bit of your background?
Well, I'm a lawyer by trade. Hate law, quite frankly.
Well, that makes you a very positive person. We accept you for open arms.
You're good at it doesn't make you don't like to do it.
Right.
I love to develop, and the reason why I love to develop is it allows for some creativity. And what I really like to do is to take buildings that were beautiful at one point or can be beautiful and make them beautiful again. And I fell in love with St. Clair and the St. Clair Inn the first time I drove up. I mean, it was over. I mean, I drove up the first time last September. Weather was lousy, but the building was beautiful. And quite frankly, you look right past the building to the water and Canada. I mean, it's incredible. And knew that it was something that I really wanted to do. And
at a previous speaking engagement with some of the city managers, you said, and I think I quote you correctly, that is one rule of real estate development is you're never supposed to fall in love with a building.
Yeah, I broke the rule.
You broke the rule.
I broke the rule. and I can't quite tell you why, and I'll tell you, it's not that I knew the town, I still don't. I mean, I've been here half a dozen times or so. I'm learning more each time I come. It's not that I knew any history of the town. It's not that I truly understood the importance of the inn, and I still don't think I do. I'm getting it as I move along. But I said it earlier today, it's a Melanie Taylor Kent painting. I mean, if you know who that is, I mean, it's a beautiful building in a beautiful setting, and it's been neglected for 10 years.
Yes.
And we're going to bring it back not only to its former glory, but bring it back into today as well. And that's a hard thing to do. We have a project out in Romulus right now by the airport, and that one you do with hammers, this one you do with a toothbrush.
Oh, very, very nice. Okay, good analysis there. And you've got a lot of background. I've read that you've developed over 1.5 million square feet of buildings and residential throughout the country.
Well, mostly in California, a little bit in Utah, most of it in California, and I'm going to say probably 85% of it is remodel as opposed to ground up. We've done certainly ground up, but all in high-end areas where the location is terrific. The first rule of real estate, of course, is location. Right. And I see that here as well.
Right.
I mean, as a real estate developer, when can you buy riverfront?
Right.
Like you can't.
Right.
I mean, there's just only so many parts of the country that it exists.
Right.
Let alone looking like this.
Right.
So I couldn't resist.
Let's get into some of your plans. I know that you're not ready to go public with drawings and things along those lines because they're still in the developmental stage.
Right.
And a lot of pieces have to come together in order to firm that up. But what are your overall thoughts?
Well, the overall thoughts are a couple-fold. The inn itself, the existing inn, a lot of people have asked me whether I'm going to rip down the north end or do things that we're not going to do that. We need more hotel rooms here.
Okay, not less.
Not less.
Okay.
So the old inn is going to be revitalized truly by toothbrush. I mean, we're going to, I mean,
That's great.
we're going to make it beautiful again. I use as an example for those who travel at all, it's going to look like a mini Fairmont.
Okay.
High-end, beautiful, not museumy, but antique-y. I mean, you don't want it. You want people to be comfortable,
To be able to use it.
and to be able to use it. So you don't want people to touch the wall and go, "Oh my God, I touched the wall." But you want them to go in and feel comfortable, but feel like they're somewhere else, because that's part of travel. Is you want to not be home. So that's the old inn. Now, to the south end of the open land, because we bought that as well.
Where the captain's house used to be and where the railroad station was,
Right.
Jeff?
the
Okay.
stone parking lot.
Stone parking lots,
Right.
okay.
So
North
all-
of the raw water station.
Exactly. So that area is, and I will tell you because we're going to do this no matter what happens, we're going to do a couple of outdoor wedding and party
Really?
areas overlooking the water.
Oh, beautiful.
A couple of some exterior facilities to support that, like restrooms and a bar, things of that sort. We're going to put a couple of rooms out there that will deal with the groom's party and the bridal party.
Oh,
so they
great
have
idea.
places to get ready. So,
Yeah.
imagine a place that sleeps 6 and has 6 6 bathrooms and vanities in it. So the women can spend their 19 hours getting ready, and the guys can spend their 18 minutes getting ready for their wedding. And then we'll do some low energy things like bocce ball and lava pits and things of that sort. So we're going to really develop that whole area. I know previous people wanted to do condos and things like that. We're going to make it part of the hotel.
Okay.
And allow for outdoor parties as well.
You mentioned there'd be 2 out there. Could you have simultaneous weddings going on?
It depends on the size. Is the
Okay.
answer. The reason why there'll be 2 is there'll be an area for a smaller wedding and an area that you can expand to a larger wedding. So you can do 2 small ones
2 at once.
At once.
Okay.
Honestly, the way to do it is to stagger them.
Yeah.
If you have 2 brides that want to get married the same day, say
it's 2. Who's important?
you do it at 10 in the morning, you do it at
Right,
noon.
right.
We'll make it work.
No, and I don't want to chime in on this, but one of the things, we had Mike Laporte gave us a tour of the facilities. Obviously, Mike worked there for 30 years.
Started as
And
a busboy and became general manager.
Yep.
been there forever. In the heyday of the St. Clair Inn, they would do 10 to 15 weddings on a weekend.
On a weekend, yeah.
Oh my God.
Just stay, and I knew it was, the premier place back then. I was a little bit younger at the time, and but that's still that number. And you start looking as far as waterfront, where you can get married. I can assure you, there's nothing in St. Clair County like that. Then I go, down to Macomb County and to Wayne to try to think where you have that ability. It's not out there.
There aren't that many people. There aren't that many places like that in the Pacific Ocean where I live.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, there just aren't.
Right.
That's what we're going to do in the south
Okay,
end.
so you're on the.
Across the street, between Vine and then down Riverside, we have that land as well. We're going to do another project, and that project's in development. But it will include some retail.
Okay.
It includes some additional space for the hotel, like a gym, a gift shop, things that are ancillary to the hotel that the hotel needs to be an upper end hotel, and it'll have some additional rooms as well. And the rest of it, I hope to roll out in about a month.
Okay, good. Well, you're always welcome to come back here and show it to the public. We'd love to have that opportunity.
Great.
You also have some other interests, and they make you a pretty good guy, and that's baseball. Talk to me about the baseball team you own out in Iowa.
Utah, yeah. Well, opening night's Friday, home opener's Friday. It's a short season team, the Orem Owls, in Orem, Utah. We're an affiliate of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and we have been now we bought the team in '04. They started with the Angels in '01, so we're one of the longer running affiliates of the same major league club in the minor leagues. It's a short A league, which means we're a half season. It starts right after the draft and rolls 76 games in 80 days.
My God.
Which only 19-year-old kids can do.
That's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. But you had some coaching experience in Little League.
I've coached Little League for about 33 years.
Only 33?
In our local Encino Little League, the same place I played.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
And coached obviously a long time before my kids were born.
Yeah.
And my dad was my coach.
Yes.
And I was lucky enough to be my kid's coach, my brother's coach, my sister-in-law's coach, my sister's coach.
It's a small town thing.
It is.
Little League.
It is.
And I'm pleased that you have that experience and that background and to join our little community here, which has got quite a Little League activity.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out here next season and watching some games. I love it. It's my kids would play. My wife had a rule on the 150th game each year she'd stop going. And each year she stopped going. But I mean, I'd go watch, other kids. But there are 2,000 kids in the San Fernando Valley that call me coach.
Oh my God!
They're not kids anymore. They're adults, and a lot of them have kids of their own at this point because I'm old. But there's nothing better than running out to a baseball game and whatever.
The boys and girls out there at the Little League will look forward to seeing you out there. Back to the inn. Do you have a timetable that you're working on?
Well, I do. It's not my own timetable. I have the timetable that I'd like to see happen. We have city, county, state, and federal governmental agencies involved. And because it's a historic building and with all the things that we're doing, everybody's got their hands in it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And
that's good and bad.
It's good and bad. And quite frankly, if I didn't have this guy here to my left, this wouldn't be happening, not only this quickly, I'm not sure what would happen at all. I mean, Jeff has really taken the reins to be our champion, to get us to where we want to do. We put out and I know you've seen it, Paul, but we put out sort of a pie in the sky concept. I sat down with Vince Cataldo, our architect, and said, if I could do anything I wanted, this is what I want it to look like. And we gave it to Jeff and Mayor Cedar and and the rest of the city council and said, this is really what I want to do here, and this is the help that we need from all these agencies. And everybody looked and said, let's get this built.
Good.
Which was not what I expected, quite frankly, because in California, that's not what you get.
Right.
Out here in St. Clair, all I get is let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, which is incredible. I'm still getting used to it, quite frankly.
Well, we'll try and keep that up.
So we're working on that, and if we're down to one piece left, which is one piece in the state, and I'm pretty sure we'll get that through, and if we get that piece through in about a month or so, which is our expectation, then we should be able to get in there and start working in about October.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
if we can get into the old inn in October, then I should have it open by this time next year.
Okay.
Then the other building, the new structure across the street, because of the weather and we have to do some underground work, you can't do it in ice. That's a different time frame. That would be open probably around this time the following year.
Okay. So you're looking 2017, 2018.
17 for the
inn itself.
for the water side, and 18 for the opposite side of the
Okay.
street. Right.
Do you have you put a budget figure to it yet, or is that going to be coming out in the next month or so?
We have a total figure for the project, which is pushing up against 40 million.
Wonderful. What a wonderful economic development for the area, and wow, I can't wait to see what it's going to look like.
It'll be fabulous.
Well,
And I don't want to sound like Donald Trump.
no,
but
no,
it'll
no,
be
no, no. But you're a confident kind of guy, and you know, you other things you've done have been successful, and it appears that you're going to try and make that effort here too.
Well, we're going to do it. And again, this is it's a unique situation. You get very few times in life, especially as a developer, and always true as a lawyer, you never get a win-win. Sometimes if you're lucky, you get a lose-lose. And in law, that's a good result, unfortunately. Win-wins just don't happen. This is a win-win. And look, I'm a businessman, my partners we're in this ultimately for a profit. But this is a situation where the better that we do, the better that everybody else does. It's so unusual. It's certainly not something you look for, it's something that you hope for and you dream for. And we're lucky that in St. Clair we have that.
It's sort of like a baseball team, a little baseball team. You get many partners, many players in this whole project. You happen to be the major part of it at this point. But when they all come together, you win the game.
That's right. Well, here if it works, we win the World Series, honestly, because I think that as you look at, and as I get more and more in depth in the community, you sat in a meeting with us this morning, and I've been in meetings all day, and you know, and Jeff, when I come up here, we've got 12 hours of meetings, and then I go home. But which is great. It's a great use of my time. Everybody here has a stake, and everybody's business here, and everybody's interest, and all the community interests do better, the better that we do. And again, I didn't know that when I came up here in September. I'd read articles about it, and you know, the media is the media, but I had no idea that it was true, and it really is.
You had one story, and we're going to let you go. When you spoke to the assembled group in the early part of the winter there about you had a masseuse, or you were having work done in L.A. Relate that story about St. Clair Inn.
Well, I had an injury in September, so I was getting physical therapy. So I'm in the physical therapist's office in October, and we were talking
in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, in Sherman Oaks, where I live, and he said, you know, you coming in on Thursday? And I said, I can't, I've got to go to Michigan. He says, oh, why are you going to Michigan? I said, well, I bought a piece of property up in a little town called St. Clair, called the St. Clair Inn. I've got to go up and do some meetings. He said, St. Clair Inn, I got married there. Then I knew it was really good.
That's a great story. Jeff, we wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you.
I know the community does, and I know the community's behind you, so we'll be anxious to have you come back and relate more of the story as it progresses.
Whenever you want me.
Okay. Jeff,
Paul, thanks for your
always
time.
a pleasure.
Thank you.
That's about it for this edition of The Roundtable. Thanks again for tuning in. Till next time, I'm Paul Dingeman. See you soon.